Hi there. This is your second book talk of the year, if my math is correct. And I'm excited to talk about a few books to add to your reading list, as well as the book fair. Before we get into that, just a couple reminders on how you can get a book from the library. One way is to place books on hold using the Destiny Discover Library Catalog. The way to access that is to go to the Valley Middle School website and click on the Academics tab here at the top. Select Library Media Center and go to the first button on the page. From there, once you find a book that looks good and you want to place that on hold, you'll log in using your student ID and Colab password. And please remember to wait to get a Schoology message from me or Mrs. Kump to come and get your books when the books are ready. You will want to wait on that message just in case. And then the books are going to be available on a cart for you outside of the main office in that vestibule. They are going to be available from 9:30 to 3, 5 days a week, as long as we are in school. And if you have any questions about that process or anything, you can send me a message on Schoology to find out more. You also, of course, can be using that Mac and Via app if you like to read on your iPad, and use that to get a hold of ebooks and audiobooks that are terrific to read as well. Speaking of the Destiny Discover catalog, I wanted to mention again that it's a nice way to shop for books, whether you know the title or author that you're looking for, or if you're just trying to find something to read and want to do a little bit of shopping. This top banner is going to be changing every couple weeks. Just last week we had books on there that were all about elections. Whether presidential elections or class elections. This week we've got things up here for students who are going to need a Zoom break. Since you're now distance learning, we figured you might be wanting some things to keep you off of your screens for a while. So these are books that are crafts and cookbooks and building kinds of things, a little bit more hands-on activities. If you decided you wanted to check out any book, remember that you're using the login up here in the top right corner with your ID and your password. Don't forget as well, below the topics buttons, we have the collections down here. And we're adding to these all the time as well. We've got ghost stories, pandemics and plagues, new and notable, which is our newest books to the library that we're going to continue to add to. The series continues would be books that are new to a series. And then this one is our latest one, which is books for animal lovers. When we click on that one, we get stories about dogs and cats and everything in between. And you'll see a lot of selection here. Might see some books that you've read before, but again, if there was something in particular you were looking for, you could search up here. But otherwise, this just might give you an idea of some other books we have in the library if you are interested in an animal story. Let's talk about some good books to add to your reading list today. This first one is Fake Blood by Whitney Gardner. This would have probably been appropriate for my October book talk, but oh well. This is a graphic novel about a kid named AJ whose beginning of the school year is different than everybody else's. He feels like everyone is coming back to school having had all kinds of adventures. They've done big things with their summers. Everyone looks a little different. They're acting a little different. Well, he hasn't. He didn't have anything happen to him over summer, and in fact, he even has the same crush on the same girl that he's had forever. So he decides it's time to do something about it. Thing is, the girl that he has a crush on, her name is Naya. Naya only has eyes for vampires. So he decides he is going to dress up like the vampire of her dreams. They get to partner up on a school project studying, of all places, Transylvania. And he thinks this is his chance to become the love of her life. However, he gets more attention from her than he expects or even wants when he discovers that she is a vampire slayer. Fun read, great graphic novel, terrific illustrations. Find out how it goes for AJ in Fake Blood. Our second read comes directly from that Animal Lovers collection. This is a true story of Craig and Fred, a Marine, a stray dog, and how they rescued each other. Craig is going to tell us all about the book that he wrote, and we're going to watch the video for him to do so.
Hi, I'm Craig, and this is Fred, and we have a book coming out. It's called Craig and Fred, a U.S. Marine, a stray dog, and how they rescued each other. And Fred just wanted to say hi because he wants to get his credit as the co-author. He had a lot to do with it. I let him type on my computer, and he got it kind of muddy, but it's fine. I met Fred in Afghanistan, a place called Sangin District that's in Helmand Province. It's in the southern part of Afghanistan. In 2010, I was a U.S. Marine. We were sent there to help secure the area. The villagers needed some help with a situation there, and it was a pretty violent place for a lot of reasons. And it wasn't the place that I thought I'd meet my first dog, but here we are. That first day when I walked over to him, I saw him kind of trot across the compound, and I just saw his tail bobbing, and at first he looked like a big dog because he's got this big head and this big tail, and he's got this big chest, and his chest is puffed out, and I looked up over my computer, and he's got these legs, and it's like he's 2 dogs long and 1 dog tall, and he's just trotting across the compound, and I'm like, what is this guy? So I got a little piece of beef jerky, and I started walking over to him, and as I got close, he started to wag his tail. And like little dust is kicking up around his tail as he's wagging it, just kind of looking at me. And I was stopped me right in my tracks. It's like, what does this dog have to wag his tail at? Absolutely nothing. I mean, he has never been shown any love or any compassion by a person. He's covered in bugs. He's hot and hungry, but he's wagging his tail at me, and he doesn't know me at all. In that moment, really kind of describes and kind of summarizes Fred's philosophy and Fred's message to me and to everyone else. Is like, no matter how miserable you might be or how hard things might be, you can always wag your tail, and you can always, fly that flag of being stubbornly positive, and it can change your world for the better. I mean, rescuing him ultimately wasn't that challenging. It was just the right thing to do. But the things that he showed me and the lessons that he's taught me and how he's rescued me is still ongoing. I'm still learning from him every day, and it's kind of an immeasurable impact on my life.
Pretty remarkable story, and you get a chance to learn about about Craig's life as a Marine as well, which is neat. So take a look at that book. This is the Young Readers edition of their story. 24 Hours in Nowhere by Dusty Bowling. This is the same author that wrote the book, The Insignificant Life Events of a Cactus, if you've read that one. This book, I think, is best summarized with me just reading the back cover. Welcome to Nowhere, Arizona, the least livable town in the United States. For Gus, a bright 13-year-old with dreams of getting out and going to college, life there is made even worse by Bo Taylor, Nowhere's biggest, baddest bully. When Bo tries to force Gus to eat a dangerously spiny cactus, Rossi Scott, one of the best racers in Nowhere, comes to his rescue. But in return, she has to give Bo her prized dirt bike. Determined to buy it back, Gus agrees to go searching for gold in Dead Frenchman Mine, joined by his old friends Jesse Navarro and Matthew Defort, and Rossi herself. As they hunt for treasure, narrowly surviving everything from cave-ins to mountain lions, they bond over shared stories of how hard life in Nowhere is. And they realize this adventure just may be their way out. If you've ever lived somewhere where you feel like you're trapped, or if you've ever been bullied before, if you've ever dreamt of going on a search for treasure, or standing up to a bully, being part of an adventure that involves mountain lions, for example, this is the book for you. It has a little of something for everyone. A wonderful read. The Detention Club by David Yu. This is in our humor section because although detention doesn't usually give us something to laugh about, in this story it does. Peter and his best friend, Drew, used to be the cool kids of their elementary school. And they've moved into middle school expecting that that is going to stay the same, that they're going to stay the most popular, they're going to stay the most well-liked. Well, unfortunately, everything that made them cool in elementary school seems to make them the losers of middle school. Being good at kickball, for example, in elementary school, that made them popular. Being good at kickball in middle school, not so cool. Things only get worse when Peter gets detention and he ends up being in this group of kids that are all stuck there for a variety of different reasons. And what it seems like is going to be his worst situation ever turns into this opportunity to make friends. And it's a fantastically funny read by David Yu. Check that book out, The Detention Club. One last adventure story set partly in Washington, D.C. and partly in Alaska. Maddie and Logan think they're going to be friends forever. Maddie's dad is a Secret Service agent. Logan's dad is the President of the United States. Maddie and Logan have been best friends and basically spend all their time together for obvious reasons. But due to a security situation, Maddie's dad ends up dragging her to a cabin in the middle of the Alaskan wilderness where there's no phone and no internet, and suddenly she's torn away from Logan, not able to connect with him at all. And at first, Maddie tells herself that that's okay. She figures she's going to hear from Logan eventually, right? He'll send a letter, they'll find a way to communicate somehow. Until it goes that there's weeks, there's months that go by, and she hears nothing from him. And that gives her more and more time to feel angry. Logan shows up 6 years later, and by this point, Maddie wants to kill him. But before that can happen, someone comes after them both. This person knocks Maddie off a cliff, drags Logan off to some unknown place, and who knows what they're going to do. And Maddie realizes she could turn back and get help, or she could try to actually save Logan herself. This is the story of a friendship that's kind of gone sour and deciding what to do. Do you make the right choice? Do you make the wrong choice? An adventure of life and death. This was a great read from a book fair a couple years ago. Not If I Save You First by Allie Carter. And speaking of the book fair, we do have a book fair this fall. It's just being offered online only, starting Monday, November 16th and running through Sunday, November 29th. Like always, any purchases made do support our school, so thanks in advance if you do so. Please let me know if you see any books on our promo video that's on the library homepage that you think look fantastic, that we really should make sure to add to the library. I would love to know your suggestions, and we'll add them to the shelves. I want to end our book talk today sharing 2 quick videos from the book fair. 2 books that I think look fantastic. Here is the first.
My name is Sarah Zapata. I tried to cross the border to escape some very bad men. Now I'm trapped in this detention center. If they let me stay in the U.S., I can start a new life. But if they send me back to Mexico, I'm a dead woman. My brother Emiliano made it all the way to Chicago where our father lives. But the men who hunted us know we have a way to bring them down. They won't stop until they find my brother and silence him forever. And I won't stop until I figure out a way to help him. Look for Illegal at your Scholastic Book Fair.
So that's one for your consideration. And here is another.
You've probably seen the video. Everyone has. Me talking about my boyfriend Will and how he paid someone to take the most important test of his life. The school is doing an investigation. Chances are, this is going to ruin Will's life. I never said those things about Will. It's a deep fake. and I'm going to find out who made it. See if you can spot deepfake at your Scholastic Book Fair.
If you have questions about the book fair or about any of the books I shared today, anything related to reading, of course, please message me on Schoology. I will be happy to help you out. Thanks for your attention. Happy reading and stay well.